there was a like organization called Bangla Congress in very early. I think it was in early 80s or something. So there is a kind of setting theory which is there, that BJP and TMC have done setting, and BJP is losing deliberately to give seats to Mamata. But there was one more setting which you had mentioned, that the violence against the Congress Karyakartas was ignored by the high command in Delhi. So there was a thing called Congress is Tormuj. So Tormuj means watermelon. So watermelon. So the outside is green, okay, but the inside it is red. So Congress of 1970s, 80s, or 60s specifically was a kind of a communist party, which they were like very sympathetic to communists, but they was wore the green of Congress. So was there a setting between the Congress at center and the CPM at the state in West Bengal, and that went on for how many years?
The understanding between the Congress and the communists is very well documented in history. Towards the end of the 1960s, when Indira Gandhi was heading a very weak government after she became prime minister, when Lal Bahadur Shastri died mysteriously, a large and strong faction of the Congress revolted against her. It was called the Congress, it was called the Syndicate or Congress Organization. And that is when she feared that she might lose her government. So in that fear, she approached the communists, saying that in case there was a vote of confidence against her, they should help her. So they asked, what do we get in return? She said, what can I offer you? Because you clearly do not have such a central presence in the country that something could be offered to you here. So they asked for something behind the door, which is the education system of the country. And soon thereafter, using a 1966 law, Indira Gandhi established the Jawaharlal Nehru University in Delhi, and that has since then been a hub for communist activism. And so she still clearly had her sympathies and also a quid pro quo arrangement with the communists. Now, after her assassination, when Rajiv Gandhi took over, he might not have had a very clear understanding with the CPM or the rest of the left front. But what happened during his period was he was too preoccupied with too many disturbances. No matter what he did at the domestic level or the foreign policy front, he was always very bitterly criticized by not only his opponents, but also by the media. There was the Sri Lankan issue, there was this Punjab militancy issue, there was this agitation going on in Assam, and everywhere there was turmoil, and also there was this Ayodhya issue. So I think he could not prioritize West Bengal, although Mamata Banerjee, as a young leader of the undivided Congress back then, she pleaded with him again and again. But all that Rajiv Gandhi used to do during his 5 years between 1984 and 89 was come over and address some big rallies in West Bengal, announce some 500, 600 crore package, and then go away. Then came, after Rajiv Gandhi fell in 1989, his government fell, and he was, of course, assassinated 2 years later in 91. And then came Narasimha Rao. And I very clearly remember that Narasimha Rao used to interact very affectionately with Mr. Jyoti Basu. He wrote to him letters addressing him as "My dear Jyoti Babu," which is not the protocol by which a prime minister adheres while writing to the chief minister of a state. And even Narasimha Rao had his own set of problems. His rule of 5 years between 91 and 96 was plagued by, was marred by corruption charges, several big corruption charges, which made even the Bofors scandal pale in comparison. There was the security scam, the huge Harshad Mehta scam. And then every now and then there was a Saint Kitts scandal. There was the JMM bribery scam. And all these things kept him away from, indulging too much in West Bengal. And finally, there were two prominent leaders in West Bengal Congress, namely Pranab Mukherjee, who went on to become president of the country. Then there was Shomen Mitro. Then there was Priyaranjan Das Munshi. Now, Mamata Banerjee suspected especially these three people of sabotaging all her attempts. So that was the setting that she insinuated about until she could not take it anymore and she broke away with her Trinamool Congress. I think that was 97 or 98. Now, as far as the so-called setting between the BJP and the Trinamool Congress is concerned, it is complete hogwash. It is bunkum. There are several pieces of evidence against this conspiracy theory. Let's start with 2016, when the BJP first fielded a lot of candidates across West Bengal, because before that, the relationship between Mr. Modi and Ms. Mamata Banerjee was okayish, I would say, as far as if you go back to the campaign of Mr. Modi before he became Prime Minister, when he reached Brigade Parade Ground for the first time, he told the people of Bengal that if you elect Mamata Banerjee here and me for New Delhi, आपके दोनों हाथों में लड्डू होंगे. So the relationship was quite jovial. But once in 2016, BJP fielded a lot of candidates, and Mamata Banerjee identified the BJP as her main rival, because by then the CPM had almost diminished. That setting started giving way. And BJP was, of course, a debutante in 2016. That was 10 years ago. Then came the 2019 Lok Sabha elections, where BJP got 18 seats, and it could have even got, to my calculation, to my reckoning, it had the potential to get 22 or 23 seats. But there was a controversy before the last round of elections around the vandalizing of an Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar's bust, which I think cost some seats, because BJP was unduly blamed for that vandalism. Then came 2021. We saw how brutally, after the election results came out, the Trinamool Congress, particularly its Muslim workers, went after the Hindu Karyakartas of BJP. Their homes were razed, put on fire, the women were raped, the men were humiliated. If there is a so-called setting between these two parties, such a thing would not happen. And more recently, the address of the Prime Minister from the Brigade Parade Ground, where more than 10 lakh people had gathered, it was such a combative speech that if there had been a setting, you wouldn't see this. This time, unlike all his previous speeches, you would not hear him refer to the Chief Minister as Didi or with any affectionate term. Repeatedly, he referred to the Trinamool Congress government as Nirmam Sarkar, a cruel government. And clearly, there is no setting. However, there is, I would say, a whiff of doubt in some people's mind because of something that can be explained. That thing is that if the Mamata Banerjee government is so corrupt, if it is so violent, why isn't the center taking action against her and her party and her government? Well, the answer again lies in history. And for that, we need to go back to 1970s. When emergency was imposed on the country by Indira Gandhi, the greatest sufferers were the Swayamsevaks of the Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh and then members of the then Bharatiya Jana Sangh, because the party was not called Bharatiya Janata Party back then. That nomenclature happened in 1980. But during the emergency years between 75 and 77, it was noted that Indira Gandhi's rule was also marked by wanton use of Article 356, which is President's rule. Now, being sufferers, being the victims of emergency, the members of Bharatiya Janasangh vowed that if ever they came to power, they would not misuse this provision of the Constitution, no matter what the provocation. So that is a historic reason. And repeatedly, they have said that they do not want to hand over any kind of sympathy for Mamata Banerjee to the Trinamool Congress, because the moment you impose president's rule in the state, you will invite all kind of hostile commentators who, no matter what you do anyway, consider you evil. They say that you are anti-democracy, you are anti-freedom of speech, you are anti-federal structure, you are anti-constitution and whatnot. They wouldn't like to give the media, which is again very antagonistic towards the BJP, or the opposition, to go around the world saying how devilish the central government is. And therefore, you see that even in cases of extreme provocation, like in 2019, when CBI officers went to arrest Rajiv Kumar, who was allegedly embroiled in the cheat fund scam, Mamata Banerjee not only protected him, but now she has sent him as a Rajya Sabha member. And that was a clear instance of collapse of the Constitution, which I think even the Supreme Court would have agreed. But again, in the recent past, a few months ago, Mamata Banerjee came in the way of an ED raid on a private company called IPAC, which was founded by Prashant Kishore, but he is no longer managing that company. So she did not let central investigation go ahead. Similarly, the way Sheikh Shah Jahan was being protected for more than 50 days in Sandesh Khali, all these are examples of collapse of the Constitution. But because the forefathers of this party had decided never to ride roughshod on any state, no matter what the provocation is, so they are not doing it. This is not setting. This is no way setting. If there had been setting in successive panchayat elections, the candidates of BJP would not be mercilessly butchered right in front of the SDM office where they went to file their nominations. Such things do not happen when there is a setting between two parties.